It's only episode 2 of the Golf. Let's go. Episode 2 then, where do we start? Sound deadening. Have a look. So we deadened all of the floor pan, the inner arches up towards the firewall, didn't deaden the firewall, boot floor, rear arches, and so we started in that area first, and we'll go out to the doors and things like that as we start working on them. What we wanted to do is get the deadening laid. We're using Skins 3mm deadening and the cables laid so we can get the interior back in. It's a working car, so it needs to be used. We've managed to get 3 days this week with 3 of us, well 2.5 of us really. The lads are on it and I'm on admin and on the car, so and we've got plenty done. So yeah, deadening's kind of done where we want it to be done. We just need to go out to the doors as we work on the doors. Decided to go for rear speakers, not something you'll see me do and not something I usually advise to do, but we wanted to get into those quarters to do some sound deadening, which meant we had to drill the rivets off the speakers, and I just didn't want to fit them back in there. Yeah, so we may as well do it. So we put them in there. It's meant we've had to go for another amps. There's now 3 amps, which has kind of led the design, the sort of triangular design that I'll explain in a minute. What else? High level integration, so we've come straight out of the MIB unit and that'll go straight into the amplifiers, and we've got a fibre link down the car for my Astle and Kern DAP that'll go in one of the cup holders on a printed mount. 3-way active front end, so we've got 3-way cabling running up the car each side, 1 into the doors, 2 to the pillars at the moment. We may change that, we may put the tweeter on the thin sliver on the door, but we're yet to sit in there and figure that out. We've just setting up a new printer. We've got a couple of new printers and stuff, so we're going to print certain things, and it depends where they end up sort of size wise as to where the speakers end up in the car, and ultimately what's best for the way it's going to sound. I like to have my mids as far outboard as I can, but in this car, the way the pillars fall, it might not work like that because we physically don't have a location for them to give them any airspace. Yeah, let's have a look around at a couple of other things that have been happening. So this on here is the center console, and this is the VXI controller. So if we can get some focus on the go. Removed the cigarette lighter and a plastic welded the controller body underneath. You can just about see that there, so that can be used, and as part of the center console with its little chrome bits and whatnot, it kind of marries up, it doesn't look too in your face. That's the only controller that's in this car really. I've got a fiber optic cable coming into here, and then there'll be something that's printed, and that'll have a 90-degree on it, and the DAP should sit in there kind of facing towards the driver. So yeah, that's there. Let's have a look in the back. Stuart's on with the frame in the boot. Okay, so this is the actual mount, which is larger than it looks. The amplifiers are, where are the amps, Jamie? The amps are around somewhere, but let me show you. So that will be there. There'll be another one next to it, and there'll be another one at the back, and then there'll be sort of distro and the VXI hub, which, to be completely honest, I don't really know what it does, but we've got to learn it, we've got to figure it out, and we'll get it in there. Rest of the products are here. We've just got a 404i, so that's gonna be bridged on the front mid bases. 600 1i on the W6, and the 600 6i, which is the one in the boot, that'll be running mid-range and tweeters up front actively, and it'll do the rear passives. These are all the cables here running down the car. We've braided some of them up, and the rear cables aren't braided. And I can kind of run through that with you. So front doors, we haven't touched them, and we won't touch them until the majority of the rest of the work is done. Pillars we've had out and put back in just to get the cables in. We're not going to work them out until we can sit back in the car when all the floor work's done. So this along the sills here, you won't really see our cables. Our cables are deep down there. You can't really zoom in there, but we've got power running down the center, fiber optic running down the center, and then the controller cables running down the center as well. Speakers are at left and right, and the integration cable is running just off center, running down there. So we shouldn't get any noise on it, but you know, it just in case we would, we've put the we've separated all of the cables out, you know. So yeah, let me show you the back here. So yeah, deadening on that plastic panel, and you can see where we had to remove the speaker cable to get remove the speaker to get through to that rear quarter. And I don't think the rear bench is in place at the moment. So you can see down there the sort of extent of the sound deadening and the way the loom crosses underneath the seat there. And then that's taped down in areas and deadened down in other areas, just to keep it secure and ultimately to stop it from rattling and making noises underneath the trim panels and hitting anything that we don't want it to hit, you know. So yeah, round the front, Stu's had everything out. On the Mk7, they're a little tricky to get a battery cable through. You can see our fuse is mounted just down there. It might be a little bit dark for you, but the battery has to come out, the airbox has to come out, and all sorts of things have to happen here for that to happen. So yeah, people have been asking about this video, which doesn't usually happen with our videos. You know, we do episodes and people don't tell us they like them until until the episodes are long gone. Why haven't you carried on with that? But more specifically, Ian, who you all know who he is, keeps asking me about the Mk7 because he needs some inspiration to carry on with his own stuff. Well, here it is, the first episode of us doing anything, you know, but the second episode in this series. The third one, we'll see more fabrication going on in the boot, more fabrication going on with the pillars. The doors will hopefully be started by then as well, and on we go, learning this JL Audio product. And like I've said, if it's shit, it'll be coming out. If it's good, it'll be staying. Alright, I'm Carl, it's a studio Incar. This is the Mk7.5R. See you later.